I've been a volunteer organizer of Friends of Gadsden Creek since 2019. I'm very excited to get to introduce and moderate our Black Activism, Black Solutions, Black Futures panel. We're really lucky to have a wealth of knowledge here on this panel about how to respond to gentrification, environmental racism, white supremacy, and racial injustice in all of its myriad forms. So before we get started, a little bit behind why we put this panel together. I think it has sort of three main planks behind it. First, and maybe most important, is to provide some inspiration about how to build new futures from the people who are actually doing this work. Secondly, to share knowledge around different methods for organizing and resisting. And third, to connect struggles today and in Gadsden Green to this long lineage of Black resistance and Black activism in the region. So our panelists will introduce themselves in more detail momentarily, but we have Richard Habersham from the Phillips Community Association, Skip Michael from Charleston Community Research Action Board, and Rashad Brown from Low Country Action Committee. So our first question for the panelists is really to give us some background on the work you do and how you got into it. So I'll read the full question. I'm going to ask you all to introduce yourselves to the audience, describe the organization you're here representing today, its period, how it grew, how it's organized, what your work looks like, and then tell us about the issues you respond to and your successes, because this is also really about looking at what works so we can replicate it here. So we'll start with Richard down the line.
All right, my name is Richard Habersham. I'm the president of the Phillips Community Association. I'm the fourth generation of the Phillips. My great-grandfather, one of the original members of the Phillips community, which he bought 10 acres from the Phillips community, and which today my family still owns that. My family goes right now about 7 deep, 7 generations that still lives in the community. My little community organization, the association consists of about 20 or 30 full-time members, but everybody in the community have an input in our organization. And our organization looks at the quality of life of the community. And that's basically that. You look at recreation, we look at safety in the community, and you look at social justice in the community. In 1999, there was an issue with Mount Pleasant Waterworks. It was a water tank that supposed to be going in Palm West. That's a high-end neighborhood. They didn't want the water tank. At the time, the mayor's sister lived over in Palm West, and they organized to got the mayor to move it into our community. And their purchase, I think it was five acres, and they were going to change that 5 acres to commercial. And if you look down to Highway 17 going in Mount Pleasant, in the town center, you don't see no houses over there no more. All that was community. That was the 4-mile community. And we said, well, we didn't want that because commercials it's like a cancer. You started in one area, it eats the whole community out and makes it unaffordable. We got together, went down to Mount Pleasant Town Council, told them we didn't want that. We lost the battle. If we got the water tank, we didn't get the commercialism. But what that did, it gave us a little respectability. There was a force after that. Everybody said, well, don't go down to Phillip because you will have the whole community after you. And what you did, and then from that, we went to, started going to the council meeting, started going to the county council meeting, started getting involved into every little issue in the community. But one issue that we had, you remember when Charles County first came out with the recycling ban? Well, it missed our community and went to Rivertown, Parkwest, and Dornwest. Just that little resettlement band. We had to get our county councilman to come out and the representative just to get that little trash can. They say, they don't seem like nothing, but it was a big deal to us. They passed us, which we was in on 41. We was the only community on 41. But they overlooked us for I won't say the white community, but the larger community. So like I said, from that respectability and that force is saying that we're not just going to stand by and let anything happen. Got us some respect. And from that, I'll let you pass it on.
Do you want to talk about Highway 41?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Back in '99 too, that's when Charleston County and all the area did the comprehensive plan. They put 41 on the long range plan, and that's what we did. That's another issue that we looked at, and we got together as a community. We said, no, we don't want that 5-lane road like the rest of the community have. Again, on 17, you can make a right turn, but you can't make a left turn. You have to make a right turn, go down to one of these little turning nodes and turn and come back. So we got together again with Coastal Conservation League, chats, and we came up with a plan. So okay, a 3-lane would be better for Phillip. And what that would do, like right now, when you make a left turn, you tie up traffic. You turn it back up. You had some serious accident on 41 because of that. We said, well, get the center lane. We can move up the travel part of traffic. Traffic will keep on moving, and we make the turn. And when you come out the driveway, it'll be the same thing. You don't have to go with 2 lanes of traffic, go with 1. Well, Charles Chat said it would work. Charles County said it would work. But over the years, they said they changed their mind. They wanted the 5-lane. We got together again and got a lot of organizations. We got the Community Foundation, we got the Conservation League, we got the Center for Law, Justice, Department of Justice. We got a lot of organizations that backed us and said, yeah, don't let them put that 5-lane road through. Well, they came with the Highway 40 corridor compromise, which we'll get the 3-lane and then we'll build a road through Laurel Hill. Now, we got a lot of people in Rivertown, Parkwest, they complain about, well, we destroying park. But one thing they don't know, that Laurel Hill plantation didn't mean that much to us because some terrible things happened over there. Some terrible things, So they're looking at the environmental part, and we're looking at the quality of life. And like I said, Charleston County right now, they went along with us. And thank goodness for that, the council at the time. Well, that council was in place, we would have had a 5-lane road. So Ms. Johnson was out here and she was part of that council. I said, thank you. And that whole group that helped us and they understood that the 5-lane road wouldn't serve us no justice.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Skip Michael. Actually, this is my neighborhood. I grew up about 3.5 blocks from where we are right now.
Michael with your brother?
No. I graduated from Burke High School. Because of our business, my family relocated to North Charleston. So I lived also in Union Heights, and I recently moved back to Union Heights. I am involved with the Lamsey communities. Lamsey is the Low Country Alliance for Model Communities. Those communities came about as a result of the negative impacts of the creation of the Lebanon port in North Charleston, the new State Ports Authority port. Once again, urban renewal was not for us. Back in the 1960s, you guys are not, most of you not old enough to remember, there was a place called Daniel Jenkins Project. And then there was a part of Rosemont. All of that was displaced because I-26 came through. When I-26 came through, an entire community was just displaced. That's what happens with urban renewal across the country with us. Most recently, the access roads for the new port were created that came right through our community. I-26, when I-26 came through, what Ms. Woodward was talking about is that an interstate entrance went right through the Union Heights community, split the Union Heights community right in half. That previously had happened before because that's what happened to Rosemont. Rosemont is on two sides of I-26. That's what urban renewal does. These 7 communities that were going to be negatively impacted came together, and they, for the first time in the history of the country, the communities mitigated with governmental agencies to mitigate the negative impacts of urban renewal. As a result of that, there was an agreement where the communities were allowed to negotiate with the governmental agencies, receive funding for the negative impacts. The 4 pillars that were a part of that negative, part of the mitigation agreement are affordable housing, economic development, education, affordable housing, economics, environmental justice. Environmental justice has to do with your right to live in a community that's safe. Everybody's right to live in a community that's safe, it's clean, it has clean air, clean water. The Environmental Justice Group started out as a community advisory board, and we morphed into the Charleston Community Research to Action Board. What CCRAB does is that we help communities identify as environmental justice communities. In other words, we provide for you what information there is about environmental justice communities so you can know whether or not you live in one, and most of you probably already do live in one. The second thing is that we use citizen science, a participatory process where the residents of the community actually do the investigations, do the monitoring, help put together corrective actions for solving environmental related problems that they perceive they exist in their communities. What we do hopefully is empower communities. We help them with the identification of environmental issues. We help them by giving them the tools to address those issues, and then we help them by helping them to create the corrective actions that will solve their problems. So we come as a resource, we remain as a resource, but we empower the community so that when there are environmental related issues in their community, the community can address those things rather than waiting for someone else. In our community in Union Heights and in the Lamsey communities, I have a saying that if we have a problem, we have to solve it. Superman's not coming to solve our problems. There are problems. It's our responsibility to solve them.
My name is Rashad, and I'm part of the Low Country Action Committee, and we're a Black-led organization focused around service, collective action, and political education. So pretty much, we have a few programs such as the Freedom Bag initiative, where we go to various communities and tied to an organization that we helped create called the People's Budget Committee that analyzes the different disparities that's in the Charleston area. So we're informed by the research that the Avery did called the Charleston Disparity Report. So if y'all haven't seen that, go check that out on Avery's site. So the organization looked at that report and kind of gauged what actions need to be taken in order to provide services to the community. So pretty much around the political education, we have different events around the city where we pretty much inform the people in order to empower the people. Because if the people don't know, then they don't participate. They gotta know what's going on and how they can take action. That's one of the most important things. A lot of people just, don't know what's going on or feel like they can't do anything. They feel defeated. So the more information that's in the community, the more that we can fill these seats in the room and we can get more people in action. So we try to build from the grassroots. We're a grassroots organization, so we want everybody to join the organization. That's the most important thing, because the things that we face as communities are systematic. So you have to have systems to replace corrupt systems. You have to have organized liberation to fight oppression, of course. Because we can go in every historically black community in Charleston, and from the Phillips community to the Back Green community to the Hyatt to Liberty Hill to Ferguson Village, all type of communities, and we're going to see various forms of oppression. And we're going to see it over time periods. From what happened after the tornado in the 30s with Gaston Green to now, the struggle continues, and it's just going to continue until we defeat these systems of oppression. So we have to organize and fight these things at the root in order to change them, so we don't pass on generational oppression to our young ones. Because it's once you conquer one feat, here comes the next thing. So we have to. We're about organizing for power, empowering the people themselves in order to control their lives, be self-determined.
Thank you all so much for that, and I appreciate the applause for everyone's story here. I think it points to just how inspiring it is to hear these accounts. My second question actually follows really nicely from how you tied that up, Rashad. In the places you work, I wanted to ask you all where you see similarities between some of the issues now, the folks that you know best and are working closely with, where you see those overlap with issues faced by the Gadsden Green community in general, and in connection to this large-scale development and wetland building project. We'll start with Richard.
Well, all the problems here we have, affordability in housing, you got flooding. We have the same problem in Philip. You have recreation, which is none. Since I live in the county, I got to pay more money to go to use recreation is unpleasant. Taxation, well, I think y'all can have that, but we have a problem with that because of the high, the high dollar houses built in all around. Like I said, my community went back to 1875, and now we got $1 million homes in the middle of the community. Everybody says that's progress, but for us, that is not progress because now you're getting taxed out of the community. Affordability, like I said, $100,000 house, no pleasant, they say a regular house costs you $800. what about the people in my community can't afford that? So that's justification. The same thing back to green. They're forcing the people who needs more out. And, and what we try to do is that, organize to get people to keep land. If you got land and you got something that you can build on, you got something that you can have and pass down, that generational wealth. So, with gas and green gap, you got the same issue. We just have to come up with a solution that the people that in the community can stay there, that be able to afford to stay in their own community. We haven't solved that problem totally yet. What we're trying to do with Charleston County, what we did do, we got on Charleston County Historical Register, and we got on the National Register. Not to stop the government, but slow it down when we have a choice that we can say, this is what we want. Now, we in the process too to do a strategic plan. And what that would do for us is we'll put a plan together, go to Charleston County and say, this is what we want in our community. This is what we want to be built in it. We don't want no more that $800,000 house in the community. You can build, but you build like what's already there. And all that should help in the same thing with gas and green, right? What hearing from y'all just want to be able to afford where you live at. Y'all just want to be comfortable an area where your kids, your grandkids, whatever, can grow and have a quality of life. And that's the same thing, my community.
Well, as I said, most of the communities, most of the underserved communities that exist in the country have the same environmental problems. You're in an environmental justice community. Give you some ideas of what environmental justice communities look like. Places that have payday loan companies. Places that have grocery stores that don't sell groceries. Grocery stores that sell canned goods and have a lot of salt, but not a lot of nutrition. Places where they advertise malt liquor on big signs, because they assume that that's what we consume. Places where there are no banks or financial institutions. Places where there's poor lighting. Places where there is flooding. And these are the things that you are entitled to. You're entitled to not have to deal with flooding. You are entitled to have clean air, clean water, safe environment. So one of the areas that we're working on now, as a matter of fact, I need to tell you this. CCRAB was formed to serve the mitigation communities, but about 5 years ago, CCRAB morphed into an environmental justice group that serves any environmental justice community identified in the South Carolina Low Country. If you have if you live in an environmental justice community, you have issues, CCRAB is a resource for you. Okay. Flooding. Flooding is an issue for gas and green.
And those stores with those beer signs on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Those kinds of things. So this is basically what we do. We come in the community, we empower you by telling you what an environmental justice community is. You determine based on the information we provided to you whether you live in an environmental justice community. If so, then you work with us and we empower you to identify those injustices and then create strategies for addressing those injustices. We give you the tools to do the necessary monitoring, to identify. You have to create a bank of data. You just can't say we've got an environmental justice community. you have to have data that supports that. So we help you collect the data. We help you develop a method to collect the data. We partner with you for collecting the data, analyzing the data, and presenting the data in a form that you can present to the agencies and organizations that can positively impact your problem and address your problem. So issues like flooding, issues like standing water, issues like housing that is subpar. Those are things that we can help you with, and we're available. Before we leave, I'll give you the information for our website. I'm retired, so I'm available. And that's what I intend to do for the rest of my life. I intend to help my brothers and sisters. So I'm available.
Like I was saying before about like the different stuff that's similar in these different communities, and like someone said on the last panel about how this mostly affects who? Black and brown people. You got to think of why does it affect mostly black and brown people? What is the issue that led up to black and brown people being the ones in these afflicted communities? Like so of course it's slavery. And of course it's colonialism. Of course it's Jim Crow and redlining and all these centuries long thing after thing of oppression, right? So the city of Charleston, did they apologize for slavery like a couple of years ago? But did anything come about as far as repaying that damage? So we look at all these communities, African people in this city that are oppressed, who came up out of slavery, who built the wealth of the city, where the wealth still comes out of that slavery, like the marketing of all this tourism, the plantations, the museums, this and that. But I think that it would be fitting for the city of Charleston to come up with do something to repair the damage. We put so much millions of dollars into the police department every year, but we don't see that going into the issue, going to the community to bring up our resources that quell some of the issues that lead to so much policing, or at least the excuses the police communities as much as they do. But it's just something you got to look at this systematically. It's a whole system that keeps a certain population oppressed, and that system got to be challenged at the end of the day, because it's just gonna keep on happening over and over, and in the same in the communities to the same people until none of us live here. It went, it went from this community going from a black residential community of homeowners and stuff to them taking this community and turning it into projects or whatever. What's that? Yeah, next thing you know, they gonna take the project. Like, what's next? Because that's all we got left. When I've been growing up and coming downtown, black people been on all these streets on the west side. I've been walking up and down these streets, seeing so much black people on every street, but now all you got left was the projects with they own. Yes, ma'am.
We're talking about, but what are we doing about it?
We gotta organize. So we got an organization that is taking that information and coming up with ways that the resources can be utilized in a whole nother way. So the more we get out there and the more people that join forces, the bigger the capacity of these organizations can be, so more can be done. So that's the mission of coming out here and talking to you all.
Okay, what is the organization?
The Low Country Action Committee.
Okay, I fight for 15, and I'm also in the political campaign. But I don't see people out there when I'm out there. So where are you guys at when I'm with?
What campaign?
Project Right now, they're trying to do away with back to green project. So what are we gonna do with that to stop them from getting these people out of there with no place to go? What are we doing about that? We just here talking and we get the action. I wanna see action. I'm tired of talking about it.
Let's go back and address that. Real quick, yeah, for context, for those of you here, this is more repeat your last statement real quick.
What are we gonna do about the people that's in the project that's gonna be put out of the project, back to green project? What are we gonna do about that?
You wanted to directly respond to that.
We're gonna do Q&A after the panel's concluded, because I wanna make sure that we, hear from all of our panelists first, but if you wanted to answer that, go ahead, Tim. Just basically this, and I know Nikki and what's his name said that America is not a racist country. The business plan for America never included anything about the cost of labor. The business plan for America assumed that there was gonna be free labor. Okay, that was the business plan. We're the result of that plan. We're the result of that business plan, that free labor plan. And as far as reparations are concerned, I did a calculation to look at reparations. First of all, the 40 acres that we were gonna get, that 40 acres would take us as far west as Tennessee, as far north as Virginia, and all the way to the tip of Florida. And the mule was gonna be a borrowed mule, not your own mule. So all of those are fantasies, those things were not gonna happen, and never going to happen. But we can use the existing systems, the existing laws, the existing things that are available to us now within the system to get what we deserve. And that's what we have to do. We have to make ourselves aware of what's available to us, and we have to work very hard and every day. And this is generational. This is not gonna go away with us. This is America. As long as America is here and the business plan is free labor, we're gonna have to work within the system to try to get what we deserve.
We don't want nobody to give us nothing. Open the door
Give me an
and give it
example.
ourselves. Now, what I'm here for, and I'm here for back to green. That's my problem. I'm here to see what we can do for people back to green so they won't lose their houses or place to stay. So that's my problem here now.
So just for,
I'm gonna go to you, Mark. I was gonna just kind of state statement of preference. So Ms. Booth, I do hear you loud and clear, but I think that's why, I wasn't, part of the panel construction here, but I believe, Brian, there's a reason why you constructed this panel, this specific panel, about what the alternative futures look like. You wanna kind of restate the purpose of the panel?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, this is a really important central question. And all of these folks on stage right here have different solutions, and they're always partial solutions that use certain strategies, some inside of government, some outside of and beyond government, to address issues that they've worked on. And the hope is that by seeing what they've done, we can think about what's possible in Gadsden and with Gadsden Creek. And this is, I'm saying the we, but residents who are here today driving what is going to happen in this area with this campaign. Is there anything you want to add?
I just wanted to maybe reiterate, because each panelist is part of, if not a signature victory, that gives us hope. They're part of a very important work, that gives us hope. So maybe I'll just co-moderate from the floor. So we have a little country action committee, right? We know they just spoke to the pivotal work they do with the people's budget, which has informed a lot of policy and help educate folks as to where the disproportionate amount of resources are being shifted away from and to, right? So that's important. And then you have, I spoke to Mr. Richard Havisham earlier, with the Phillips community. They were able to make their case over the years, specifically, not so much with the water, well, you made the case for the water tower, but you've got a significant victory through preservation, right? Stopping Highway 41, right? And skip. Okay. Yeah, just take your victory, I'll let you speak for yourself.
Okay.
Like I said, the separate communities, the Lampton communities are communities we basically started with. But we do most of our work right now in Rosemont. Rosemont have what we perceive as, we do air monitoring. We do air monitoring to take a look at particles in the air that affect your respiratory system, the possibility that you being affected with particles in the air. That's what we started out with at Rosemont. We went over to do some air monitoring over there, set up, monitors that measure particulate matter in the air. When we got there, the residents said, we got a flooding problem. The leadership said, there's no flooding problem. So we went door to door to the residents. They showed us the flooding problem. Now we have monitoring in Rosemont for flooding. We do not just a measure of flooding, but we have video of the monitoring. Actions are being taken by the Rosemont residents. Water quality. The water quality analysis are being done by the Rosemont residents. They said we had a problem. We said we'd take a look at the problem with you. The solutions are not being implemented by us, but by the residents of the community. Jackson Green has flooding problems. We have resources. You have bad air down here. Take my word for it, you have bad air. We have monitoring devices that can help you compile the information that's necessary to prove to the agencies that you have those problems. And you know what? Our work is free.
Let me make a comment on that too. You know, one of our biggest things is getting on the historical register. I don't know how long Gaston Green was there. If he's over 50 years, you know, that's history right there. In Charleston, the city of Charleston, you know, you can't tear down a building. Yeah, if it's over 50 years. Right? Yeah. You have a whole lot of problems that go through. Problem go through it. So that is one of the things that y'all can do. You know, Charleston, big on history. Get the gasoline documented as a historical area. And yeah.
That's what we're doing, exactly that. This is the framework, these are coalitions, and I think Shadi said it a moment ago, and belonging to being together. And that has happened before, and it can happen again. We're gonna continue to work together with these organizations, to borrow from the work that they've already done, right?
Yeah, Skip said, you working within the system, and you get that, then you gotta lay up to slow things down. When you slow it down, they give you a chance to think about something different. The use the system, that historical system of Charleston County, and the city of Charleston, this will slow it down. And when you can't just tear down any kind of way, and you'll have them documented, this is a historical area, this is what happened, this is here, you have to put it back.
And what I want to point out about all of these solutions that I think is really interesting is all of them are turning a system that is not meant to serve black and brown people around. Be it the people's budget, changing the budget from outside, pushing this budget that is not supporting black and brown communities, fighting bad data that's used to allow flooding and poor air quality in communities of color in the first place, and then also using historical preservation, which was not created to protect black property, against its original intentions. So I think these are all powerful methods that could be used. So looking at our time, we're winding down for this panel, so I think now would be a great time to turn back out to the audience for any questions for panelists or comments.
Well, I just want to say that last week, Friday, I did a great turnout that we had last week, Thursday, from Cajun, speaking about Jackson Creek.
Do you have a problem?
We got a president, a vice president.
No, ma'am, that's not what I asked. I said, do you have a problem?
Do I have a problem?
If there's a problem, if you think, and you don't have to prove it, if you think that there's an environmental problem in your community, that's all you know.
Thank you, sir. You have a good start.
Well, let me tell you something too. There was this gentleman in Mount Pleasant. He used to go to council. He would always say, well, I represent this organization. You know how many people was in this organization? One. But he had a title. I'm serious, he had a title. And every councilman, he stand his position. But it made it seem like he had a whole organization. It was one person.
All right, well, I'm gonna ask. Oh, wait, we've got one hand in the back.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anna Johnson, former county council member for Johnson County. And I'm excited to come here and hear this discussion by Mr. Harrison. And I want to say it's very impressive to hear the panel speak and talk about issues in the community and how they are proceeding to work on it. And also for all of you to come out at this time of day on Saturday evening to be participating. It wouldn't be great to be full because there is a lot of problems here in the city when you're talking about the flooding or on the island sometimes. But people do have to come out and identify what the problem is, Mr. Michael, like you said. And then once you identify what the problem is, then you gotta do like what Haversham said. You gotta go and beat the drum to the people who can make the change. But if you don't have people coming out to beat the drum, nothing gets done. And Rashard, I didn't realize I knew all of the panel members because I've dealt with all of them. And it's just so great to be here, to hear this, and to see that you're trying, like the lady over there talking about how she's going to try to do something now in her community. But everything starts with one person. If you keep saying that, well, somebody else ought to do it, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. Nothing's going to happen.
All right, we have a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna pass this on to